All right, less than a week before the big Fox presidential debate with all the candidates, here is how comfortable Donald Trump is. He's not even in this country, in the place where he's #1 in the polls. He's in Scotland, and he's taking selfies with Scottish kids. Now, I know what you're thinking. Neil, please don't do your Scottish accent. How can I avoid it? It's amazing. There he is, #1 in the polls. Okay, but the insanity ensues, and it's got Rand Paul and probably a lot of other candidates incredulous. They can't believe that this guy is whooping them badly in the polls and seems very relaxed and at ease ahead of the big debate. Now, that could change next week, and as you know, with polls, they change a lot. To Mark Stein, of course, the co-author of Climate Change, The Facts, first on this Donald Trump phenomenon, what do you make of it?
Okay, the new to you, Neil.
Don't give me your fake accent. All right, go ahead.
No. Rand Paul says this is temporary insanity on the part of whatever it is, 20-something% of the Republican base. I think it was Einstein who said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And the base supported the Republican Party establishment, delivered them a huge victory in 2010 in the House and a huge victory in the House and Senate in 2014, and got nothing to show for it. And they're tired of being stiffed by the Republican Party establishment. And I think Trump's rise in the poll reflects actually nothing more sophisticated than the fact that the voter base of the Republican Party absolutely hates the Republican Party leadership and establishment.
Now, how long do you think that lasts? Normally, it's like this is the flirtation time where unusual or eccentric or different candidates, and I guess I would put Trump in all the above categories. That fades. It was maybe he's just a Herman Cain phenomenon. I always disagree with that, Mark, because I think A, he has a lot of money. B, he just is very at ease with himself, whether people like that or not. And his message resonates. And I've always said to the media, you're focusing too much on the messenger, who you apparently don't flip over, and not on the message that apparently a lot of Americans do flip over. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's right too. He's tapped into a real issue that he viscerally understands. I don't think he's a Herman Cain character. If you remember, Herman Cain was asked about Uzbekistan, and I don't think he'd heard of the joint, and he was going, Becky Stan, I'll have some advisor to tell me where that is.
Moment. No, you're right. Maybe not his finest moment.
No. And Trump, in that sense, is actually much more on top of the facts, and he has found a real issue that resonates. And if he is just a flash in the pan, then the guy who succeeds him will be someone who taps into that issue. Now, Rand Paul is a very smart guy, but he takes refuge in the same cliches. He said in part of that statement where he called Trump's voters insane, he says Washington is broken. The problem is that if you're a Democrat, Washington isn't broken. It works very effectively for you. If you're a Democrat voter, it's given you Obamacare, it's given you same-sex marriage, it's given you a bazillion food stamps to paper your house in. If you're a Democrat, Washington is working very nicely for you, thanks very much. And the conservative base says to the Republican Party, okay, we keep handing you these election victories and you do nothing. You're in office, but you're not in power. You've got the desk, you've got the window view, you've got the driver, but what do you actually do with it compared to what the Democrats do? And that question, Rand Paul is to count. If Rand Paul wants to drive a stake through Donald Trump's candidacy, he's got to have a better answer for that than the one he gave today.
He must be annoyed, as do all of his opponents, that Trump appears to be made of Teflon, that nothing is sticking, and that no matter what he says about Mexicans, no matter what he says about John McCain, whether he's a war hero, no matter his solutions to our rift with China, just saying we won't buy any more of their crap, as he put it, that nothing hurts him. Nothing hurts him. What do you make of that?
Yeah, and I think that's actually a lesson for other candidates too. You know, the strangulated, constipated artificiality in which the candidates talk about things, you know, where they say something mildly infelicitous and then some spokesperson comes out and regrets that they misspoke. Trump basically does nothing but misspeak, and he never apologizes for it. Even the Hispanics don't seem to mind him saying that Mexicans are just a bunch of rapists. He's like, his numbers are rocketing up. The Mexican rape
with
vote
Latinos,
is like
with
gung-ho for
Latinos,
him.
because they know how to distinguish between the tomfoolery. But you know, Mark, flipping sides, Hillary Clinton, now these emails being released, we don't know how many are damaging. We do know many more than she said earlier were compromised classified material. You're of the opinion that she's falling fast and that Bernie Sanders can't be dismissed. Explain.
No, Hillary, I think, is a terrible candidate. She's got all the money, she's got all the cronies, but she herself is a stiff and a bore. And Democrats like a romance. Obama was a romance for liberal Democrats. And if you look at the crowds Bernie Sanders is drawing, I live in New Hampshire. I've followed this guy ever since he got elected to Congress in 1990 across the river in Vermont. He's a canny guy. He's a smart guy. He's an effective guy. And if it comes down to debates, he will thrash her in debates. She's not a good candidate.
So you don't look at him as just someone who appeals to a very passionate, though limited wing of the party who could never win over the entire party and get nominated. You said there's something bigger that we're missing.
No, I think he's actually quite effective in that way. He won the most conservative corner of Vermont. Believe it or not, there still is one. Is what they call the Northeast Kingdom, hard up by the Quebec border. And he wins the votes there. He's not some ideological fool running around in a Che Guevara T-shirt. And the point is, she's not nimble enough. And at some point, you know, the Democratic Party mainstream, if they don't want Bernie Sanders, they are going to have to clamp Joe Biden to the electrodes and put a little bit of juice and life into him, and have Joe Biden run. But right now, Hillary relaunches her campaign every 2 weeks, and it's deader than ever.
Wow.
And it's going nowhere. And they've got the Clinton campaign, even without the scandals, because Democrats don't mind scandals. They don't care if the Chinese have hacked into her emails, if the Russians have hacked into her emails. They don't care about Benghazi, but they care about the fact that she's dull as hell, she's a bore, she's a stiff, and she's no good on the stump. And that's what we'll do for her with Democrats.
How do you feel about Hillary? No, just saying. Mark, thank you very, very much. Best luck with another bestseller.
I'll the new again to you.
All right, my friend. I'll give you the Scottish accent when you're here in person. Mark Stein calls it like it is.